What if every worst decision a hero could make actually became real somewhere in the universe? In DC Comics, there exists a hidden layer of reality where every failure, fear, and broken version of a hero comes to life. This place is known as the Dark Multiverse. Unlike the normal multiverse, these worlds are not meant to survive. They are unstable, constantly collapsing under the weight of their own darkness. And the most terrifying part is that many of these worlds are created from Batman's fears. This means some of the darkest realities imaginable all begin with one hero losing control. And once these worlds are born, they don't stay hidden forever. They fight to escape into the main universe. And when they do, everything changes. The Dark Multiverse is essentially the opposite of the main DC Multiverse. While the normal multiverse is made up of stable and thriving realities, the Dark Multiverse is formed from unstable possibilities. These are worlds where something went terribly wrong at a critical moment. A single bad decision can create an entirely new dark reality. However, these worlds are not permanent by design. They slowly decay and eventually collapse into nothing. What makes this concept unique is that these realities are built from fear itself. Every doubt, every failure, and every nightmare has the potential to become real here. This makes the Dark Multiverse far more unpredictable than any other part of DC cosmology. It is not governed by hope, but by fear and instability. And that is exactly what makes it so dangerous. One of the most famous creations of the Dark Multiverse is the Batman Who Laughs. In his world, Batman finally kills the Joker after one last confrontation. However, Joker had prepared for this outcome in advance. Upon his death, a toxin is released that infects Batman. This toxin slowly transforms Bruce Wayne's mind into something far more dangerous. He retains all of Batman's intelligence, but gains Joker's insanity. What makes this version terrifying is how calculated he remains. He does not act randomly like the Joker, but plans everything with precision. After transforming, he eliminates the entire Bat family without hesitation. Eventually, he takes control of his entire world. This version of Batman proves that the line between hero and villain can completely disappear. And once it does, the result is far worse than either extreme alone. The Dark Multiverse does not stop with just one twisted version of Batman. There are multiple dark versions, each created from a different fear or failure. The Red Death is a version where Batman steals the Flash's speed to overcome his limitations. However, this results in a loss of control over that power. The Devastator is a version of Batman who transforms himself into something similar to Doomsday. He does this as a desperate measure to stop Superman. But in doing so, he becomes just as destructive as the threat he feared. The Dawnbreaker is a version of Batman who gains a Green Lantern ring. Instead of using willpower properly, he corrupts the ring with fear and darkness. Each of these versions represents a broken solution to a real problem, and each one shows how far Batman is willing to go when pushed too far. The Dark Multiverse is not just about dark versions of heroes. It represents something deeper about the nature of fear and control. Many of these worlds are centered around Batman because he is defined by preparation and contingency. He always plans for the worst possible outcome. But the Dark Multiverse shows what happens when those worst outcomes actually occur. It turns his greatest strength into his greatest weakness. These stories explore what happens when heroes lose their core values. When hope is replaced with fear, even the strongest heroes can fall. This is why these versions feel so disturbing. They are not random evil versions, but logical extremes of the same characters. And that makes them feel far more real and dangerous. The Dark Multiverse becomes a major threat during the event known as Dark Knight's Metal. A powerful entity named Barbatos leads the invasion from the Dark Multiverse. His goal is to bring these dark realities into the main universe permanently. The Justice League is forced to confront threats unlike anything they have faced before. The Dark Knights, led by the Batman Who Laughs, begin attacking Earth. What makes this event intense is that these enemies already understand their opponents. They are twisted versions of heroes, meaning they know every weakness. The battle becomes more than just physical, but psychological. The heroes must confront the possibility of becoming these versions themselves. This raises the stakes far beyond a typical conflict. It becomes a fight not just for survival, but for identity. The Dark Multiverse stands as one of the most unique ideas in DC Comics. It shows that every hero has a breaking point, and if pushed far enough, even the greatest symbols can fall. What makes it truly terrifying is how close these realities feel to the main universe. They are not distant possibilities, but reflections of real fears. The line between hero and villain becomes thinner than ever, and in many cases, it disappears completely. These stories remind us that power alone does not define a hero. It is the choices they make, even in the worst situations. Because in the end, the Dark Multiverse is not just about monsters, and it is about what happens when heroes fail.